Welcome to the Nourish Together Gut, Heart, and Mind podcast. I'm Thais Harris, and I am so excited about this conversation today. We have Catharine Arnston. She is an expert in algae nutrition and a wellness thought leader and the founder of Energy Bits, which I have some little packets here to show you. These are so
Algae
exciting.
tablets, little algae tablets.
Yes, algae tablets. And she's a board certified health coach and has a PhD, MBA, and the list goes on. So we will have a chance to hear from Catharine how she got to where she is today. But I want to start right away, Catharine, by welcoming you and asking you if you can share with our audience why algae is a superfood, and are there differences between chlorella and spirulina, and how do they stand out as compared to other supplements, especially things like green powders?
Yeah, well, I could talk on each one of those topics for about an hour. The first thing you'll chuckle what I call it. I call it a super duper food because it's in a class all of its own. Superfood's a term that's thrown all over the place, and nothing comes close to algae. And we'll hopefully by the end of the talk today, you'll understand why. The other thing I want to point out before we go any deeper is that algae is not these algae tablets. We call them bits because they're bits of nutrition. They're not a supplement. Algae is actually a food. It's a food crop. It's its own food category. And what makes us unique is the way we grow it, because it's a food. We grow it in fresh water in Taiwan, triple filtered spring mountain water, and we dry it without high heat to preserve all of the nutrients. Most of the other algae companies, and certainly the dried powders, use high heat. They have to when they're mixing it, so which deactivates many of the nutrients. So we don't do that, and then we press them into these little tiny tablets that we affectionately call bits because they're bits of nutrition. There's nothing else in there than spirulina and chlorella are the two algae. So you need to know that algae is a food. It's a food crop that is, in fact, grown, 99% of it's grown in Asia. It's as big as the beef industry is in Asia. It is a multi-billion-dollar agricultural crop. And you just don't know about it because, or anybody here in America, because it's not grown here and no one has told you about it. You know it's a superfood, but you're not really sure what that is and what exactly it does. So I'm here to bust some myths, create some knowledge, which will give you power, because knowledge is power, and algae gives you power in every possible way. Your mind, your brain, your mitochondria, your gut, everything is powered effortlessly by algae. And so am I. I've been taking it since I started the company 15 years ago. So
yes, I've been especially taking it during my pregnancy, which is very helpful.
Yes, it's great for pregnancy, nursing moms afterwards. And not all algae is equal, just like you can't buy all homes aren't the same, shoes aren't the same with algae. So you want to be very careful, because most of it is grown in China and there's not as much regulation, and who knows what's in that stuff. Taiwan is where the gold standard is. We're third-party lab tested here in the United States, endorsed by doctors nationwide. So ours is the purest, safest food you will ever put in your body or your children's body, your pets, and it's a whole food. And ours is a raw food because we do not use high heat to dry it. So, and you're going to learn, I'll tell you now, algae has the highest concentration of protein in the world, 60% protein. That's why the United Nations has endorsed spirulina algae since 1974. That's 50 years ago, as the answer to world hunger, because of this high concentration of protein. It has the highest concentration of chlorophyll in the world. We'll tell you more about the importance of chlorophyll, why it's so important for women's health particularly. It has 40 vitamins and minerals, more collagen than collagen powder. And again, it's all from food. You can eliminate many of your other supplements, in fact, when you take algae, because it's already all in there. Magnesium, potassium, vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin D, it's loaded. And if you're vegan, a lot of people are worried about getting enough protein or getting B12. They're in there too. Algae is the orchestra of nutrition. All those supplements you're taking, that's like listening to soloists, individual things that can never collectively provide you the harmonies and elevated experience that you get when you take food. But the problem is our food is so damaged or over processed even if you are eating vegetables, you are getting fiber and calories, but not nutrition. This is what's causing women in particular all of these health issues. There's two things going on in the dynamics in our world. Our food, our soils are so deprived that there's no nutrients left in the food to pull up from the soil, as I mentioned, and then it's over processed. And we have too many toxins in our environment. So the average adult apparently has 700 toxins in them now. So there's a lot of things that happen once you hit 40 that cause some health issues to start elevating and spiraling. And as you're going to find out, algae has those nutrients that plug the holes. So you don't have to spiral down. There's only one way to go, and it's spiraling up. And if you start taking algae before you hit that age, then you won't ever, well, I shouldn't say ever, but it's less likely that you will have any kind of health conditions, whether it's weight gain, brain fog, skin issues, perimenopause, hormonal issues, sleep issues. We can correct it all amazingly. Well, it's the nutrients in algae that corrects it. It's not, and so I don't want to say algae does fix all this. It's the nutrients. And they're scientifically proven, but we'll get to that in a minute.
So, well, let's talk a little bit about, Catherine, how you came to this work and how many years you've been studying this.
Yeah.
You've been at it for a long, long time.
I have. I know. It's hard to believe. I'm almost at year 15. And how did I become an algae nutrition expert? Well, I tell people I didn't choose algae, it chose me. I'm actually Canadian, and I've lived in the United States for 35 years, mostly in Boston, and I've semi-relocated to Miami. And I have an MBA also in Canada, and I had a corporate career doing international business, nothing to do with nutrition. And I only have two sisters, one older, one younger. All my family's in Canada. I'm close to my sisters. But 16 years ago, my younger sister developed breast cancer. Now, and she was at that magic age of 40. This is when it all starts happening, after 40. And I'm going to tell you why and why algae can help correct that. Anyways, she was diagnosed, her oncologist, which is a cancer specialist, and who luckily was a woman, because women tend to be more open to nutritional issues. Her oncologist told her to change her diet to an alkaline diet as she was preparing for her chemo. Now, they didn't tell her what an alkaline diet was or specifically what it did. So my sister called me, not that I knew anything about nutrition, but I'm a very good researcher. I'm very passionate. And I said, I have no idea what this stuff is, but I will find out. And I did. And it was mostly a plant-based diet because of the chlorophyll and phytonutrients that have been studied for decades and have been proven to build your immune system. And she wanted her to have a strong immune system, because chemo does destroy your immune system. Number two, it turns out that a German scientist by the name of Otto Warburg won a Nobel Prize in the 40s for discovering that cancer cannot exist in cells that are slightly alkaline. Remember, she told her to have an alkaline diet. So that was the other reason I assumed she wanted her to do this. And so I found all these plant-based foods for her. She did change her diet. She did go through chemo. She still is cancer-free. We celebrate every year. I started learning about plant-based nutrition, read all the science, thought this was crazy. I thought somebody has to tell the world. Why not me? I had no nutrition background, but I gave up my 25-year corporate career, went back to school, got a health certificate, a coaching certificate from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. Then I put a curriculum together teaching people about the importance of plant-based nutrition. And this is what ultimately led me to algae. Because here's what happened. I started teaching these lectures, telling people to eat more vegetables. And ladies, I know you hear this all the time. I got pushed back. Well, my kids won't eat them. My husband won't eat them. They go bad quickly. They give me gas. They expire. Blah 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 blah. So I thought, okay, if I can't get people to eat more vegetables because of all these issues, I need to find a way to get the nutrition of vegetables into them in a way that's effortless, no gas, no easy for your kids and your husbands, blah, blah, blah. I looked at everything that I'd found for my sister, and when I got to algae, that's when the miracle happened. Algae is the most alkaline food in the world. It's also the most nutrient-dense food in the world. NASA has been feeding it to the astronauts for 50 years. Why? Because we have a quote from them that says 1 gram of algae has the same nutrition as 1,000 grams of vegetables, fruits and vegetables, 1 to 1,000. This is because microalgae, which is what we're talking about today, is so microscopic, you can get a million on the head of a pin. So when you consolidate them into these little tablets that we have here, you start to see how much nourishment there is. So alkaline, nutrient-dense, endorsed by United Nations, NASA, used for thousands of years, including daily by the Asians who have been taking it for 60 years. And if that wasn't enough, there's 100,000 studies documenting all the benefits we're going to talk about today: preventing heart disease, preventing cancer, preventing inflammation, helping your skin, helping your sleep. All of this is proven in science. It's the nutrients in algae that protect you from all these things. And here's the best part of all. As I mentioned, it's grown in Asia in fresh water, dried, and pressed into these little tablets. So when you take these little tablets, each one has the same nutrition as an entire plate of vegetables. And look at this. I chew mine, but most people swallow them. I just had a plate of vegetables while I'm talking to you. Now, this is effortless nutrition. Kids love to chew them. Why? Turns their tongues green. They think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
Guys will take it because now they never have to eat another vegetable again in their life. We have an expiry date of 3 years. Most vegetables go slimy and bad after 3 days. This has the most nutrition in the world. If you took 10 tablets a day, which is what we recommend for most adults, and we have a discount code to share with you at the end.
Great.
It's affordable. It costs $1 a day. 10 tablets a day, $1 a day for all of your nourishment, protecting your health. In fact, we're going to tell you about the 2 algae, Spirulina, which we call energy bits, and Chlorella, which we call bits. They're quite different.
Yes.
I call Spirulina your nutritional insurance because, as you're going to find out, it fills all of your nutritional gaps and does give you energy, but it's not a stimulant, and I'll explain that. And Chlorella builds your immune system, pulls out toxins, kills bacteria, helps you sleep, helps you repair. And so it is also, I call it your health insurance. So think of Spirulina as your nutritional insurance, Chlorella as your health insurance. So I have been taking these myself since I started this 15 years ago. And ladies, I'm 68. I turned 68 this year. I got my PhD this year. I'm still running a company, national company, but I put myself through school. I wrote my exams. I want you to know this stuff works. My brain works. I sleep well. I poop well. I work out. My skin is great. I don't use Botox. I don't have extensions. This is my own hair. I only have young people, millennials, working for me, and they can't keep up with me. I want you to feel as great as I do, and I've put a pause on aging. My biological age, I had some tests done, is 30. I'm 68. That's half
amazing.
Right?
Well done, Catherine. That's incredible.
And I'm eating food now. I eat these all day long. I eat them, like I said, but most people do swallow them. There's no repeat if you swallow them. No flavor if you swallow them. It's not like fish oil. It doesn't repeat.
No. And I share them with my cleanse group, especially the Chlorella, part of our cleansing protocol. Got great feedback. Like, it's really wonderful. It's such a great product. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how, and I want to get back into the dosage piece. Yes. If we want to call it dosage, but because these little guys, they come with 30 and that's recommended as 1 serving, right? And I've been doing between 5 and 10 myself. Yeah. As an additional boost to all the other things that I already do, right? Yeah. And obviously eating certain foods. As I mentioned at the time of this recording, I'm pregnant with just a few days to go, but I'm doing prenatals and, there's just a lot of other support that I'm doing anyway. But for somebody who's maybe just starting, they're not taking a bunch of supplements, they eat some vegetables, but they have kind of perhaps not a standard American diet, not a lot of fried food and fatty food and weird things, but they're being mindful of their diet and maybe not getting still all those nutrients that even if they're eating vegetables, they're missing
Right.
because of what you just mentioned about soil depletion and the food quality overall. So for somebody like that, it's just kind of in the middle of the way a little bit. How much would you recommend that
Yeah.
they take?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I know they come in little pouches of 30, but that's a therapeutic amount. So for most people, the average adult, we're suggesting you start with 10. So I'm
Okay.
just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 tablets. Okay, there's 10 tablets right there.
Mm-hmm.
You could swallow them in the morning. We recommend spirulina in the morning, by the way, because what does spirulina do? It satisfies your hunger. It gives you physical energy, mental energy. It helps just get you out the door in seconds. You could just swallow this with water, you're out the door. Or you could crush them and put them into a blended smoothie, or you can chew them like I do. I love them with sea salt, and we'll talk about chlorella later because it tastes delicious with pistachio nuts or macadamia nuts or any trail mix or slices of fruits. So 10 will be plug all of your nutritional holes. I tell people, most of us are deprived in one or more minerals, micronutrients. So think of your body like a boat. And if you have these holes where you're not getting the nutrients, your boat is sinking. So this will fill the holes just with 10. By the way, for children, we recommend half of their age. So if they're taking 10, give them 5 a day. If they're 6, give them 3 a day. And same with pets. You can give them 3 to 10, depending on the size of the pets. But there's no upper limit. And there are no contraindications because A, algae is food. B, spirulina is not even a plant. It does not have any fiber. It is actually a bacteria. It's called a cyanobacteria. Why is that important? Because your body will absorb it almost immediately if you chew it like I do. It goes in sublingually through your mouth, and maybe 10 minutes tops if you swallow it. So all of the nourishment literally bypasses digestion. So it gets into your mitochondria, into your brain immediately. So your hunger will go away. It's not, you don't feel like you've had a big bowl of spaghetti, but who wants that for breakfast anyways? But it gives you nourishment for a workout, for starting your day. 15 is better, 20 is better. Some people need 1 egg, some people need 3. So play it by ear, but 10 will probably be sufficient in the morning. And we have this discount code. If you buy them in a large bag, which is your most economical value, it has 1,000 tablets in it. If you took 10 tablets a day, a large bag will last you 3 months and cost you $1 a day. By the way, there's so much nourishment in here, 40 vitamins and minerals, the highest protein in the world, highest chlorophyll, highest collagen. You can eliminate a multivitamin, a fish oil, collagen, CoQ10, and probably a few other things. So it saves you money, and it's not just what you eat, it's what you absorb. Because what you probably don't know is that most of the supplements people are taking are made from extracts or synthetics, and your body can't recognize them very well. So you only absorb about 10% of what's in those synthetic supplements. Algae is food, so your body absorbs 99% of it, particularly spirulina, because it gets absorbed so quickly. So now if you have a health condition or you want to prevent a health condition, we do recommend 30, and we do sell them in these pouches of 30. So if you're an athlete and you want a great workout, you're doing a triathlon, or you've had cancer and want to prevent it, or heart disease and you want to prevent it, or you have diabetes, or any condition, a 30 tablet would be the therapeutic amount, or anything between 10 and 30. You could, of course, take more. Our NHL players take 75 spirulina before a hockey game. We've worked with the Detroit Red Wings, for example, for years, because they have a need for lots of energy and focus on the ice. So this gives it to them. And then, by the way, they put 75 chlorella in their smoothie afterwards, because this will pull out the lactic acid. As I'll tell you now what chlorella does. It's a detox wellness algae. So spirulina in the morning for nourishment, energy, focus, and we'll talk about mitochondria health in a minute. By the way, the energy you get is not like a stimulant. It's not like caffeine, chemicals, or sugar, which give you a burst and then a crash. A stimulant is like putting paper on a fire, a burst in the crash. Spirulina is like putting a log on the fire. very steady energy. You almost wouldn't even notice it, except you'll go, I'm just not hungry anymore. Or, wow, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm thinking really
Yeah.
well. Very, very quiet energy. No drama.
Yeah.
That's why.
Don't feel tired. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah. And then
mhm.
if you feel you're need a boost, take 10 more. No maximum, zero. I don't want to tell people how many I take anymore because they get a little weirded out, but I take a lot more than that. So spirulina morning, because that's when you're tired, hungry, and want energy, right? We recommend chlorella in the evening. And again, 10 would be sufficient to get you started. Chlorella is a wellness algae. We call ours recovery bits. It helps you recover your health. How does it do that? Well, it has the highest chlorophyll in the world. Spirulina has the highest protein in the world. Now, chlorophyll is missing in most of our vegetables now because none of our vegetables have the nutrients that they used to have. And the chlorophyll is a very important nutrient. I'm going to show you the chart. It's almost identical. Oops, that's kind of
Oh, let's see. Oh,
to your hemoglobin. This is a picture of the chemical composition of your hemoglobin, and this is the chemical composition of chlorophyll. Notice that they're almost identical. Chlorophyll builds your blood. It's been used for centuries for that, but there's almost no chlorophyll in our vegetables anymore. Chlorella is called chlorella because of the chlorophyll concentration. It has 500 times more chlorophyll than arugula and 25 times more than liquid chlorophyll. So number one, chlorophyll builds your blood. Chlorophyll kills bacteria too. Chlorophyll kills bacteria in your mouth, in your colon, wherever it is. And it does that in the water. So whenever you see an algae bloom, don't get mad at the algae. It only showed up because there were toxins and bacteria in the water that somehow got in there. You couldn't see them. But algae is the cleanup crew. Doesn't matter what spirulina or chlorella, it's the cleanup crew, and it does the same thing in your body. So chlorella, high chlorophyll for building your blood, killing bacteria. It has a hard cell wall. Remember, spirulina has none because it's a bacteria. This one has a hard cell wall that attaches to toxins, heavy metals, glyphosate, pesticide. Lord knows they're everywhere. So it pulls them out. And it has a fiber which feeds your gut biome. And again, it has high protein, 40 vitamins and minerals that build your immune system. And 80% of your immune system is in your gut. The chlorella, this is one of my favorite topics, also stimulates peristalsis, also known as a bowel movement. Now, you have to nourish your body, and most people aren't properly, but you also have to eliminate the stuff that's sitting in your colon is what your body didn't want. Toxins, garbage, right?
Yeah, used up hormones. Yeah.
I call it junk in your trunk. And if you don't get rid of it, it's like having a garbage truck parked in front of your house permanently, because your blood will circulate around the colon where all the garbage is and distribute all those toxins that are still sitting there. Chlorella stimulates peristalsis, which is the movement for you, so you can have a bowel movement in the morning. It's a beautiful thing. And if you are eating dairy, on taking medications, if you're stressed, if you're traveling, if you're eating processed foods, gluten, not drinking enough water, not moving enough, that's about 99% of the world right now, right? This will solve the problem and it takes away the need for vegetables. Yes, this is why moms, ladies, if your children and the guys in your life or yourself aren't eating vegetables, no worries. You don't need them anymore. You get the chlorophyll, the phytonutrients, and the peristalsis benefits from chlorella. So most times we suggest you take this before bed. And why is that? Well, when you're sleeping, that's when your body goes through a detox and repair cycle. That's when the cleanup crew is in there getting rid of the metals in your brain, pulling out, repairing all your cells with stem cells. This also stimulates stem cells. This also has something called chlorella growth factor that stimulates the growth of your own cells. So if you take this before bed, it also has the highest tryptophan in the world, which is a precursor
help you sleep.
to melatonin, which helps you sleep. And as you get older, your body creates less melatonin, which is why, ladies, we have a hard time getting to sleep. So especially after 40, this will help. It won't make you sleepy, but it will help you get into that deeper sleep. So 10 is a sort of just a, fill the gaps kind of amount, but for pure therapeutic amounts, and again, for the detox, you do need the 30. So this is a nourishing algae in the morning, energizing, gets you out for the day. And this is very detox and cleansing. Now, it's hard. I know lots of people, it's the first time you're hearing about spirulina, chlorella. So I've come up with a couple of ways for you to remember what they do and when to take them. So we're going to talk about mitochondria later on, and they generate all the cell energy in your body. Cellular energy is what fuels your body for everything. Think of it as electricity in a building. You can't do any work in the building if you don't have any lights, right? And electricity lights on. Well, these things called mitochondria generate all of the electricity and keep your lights on. But as you get, your mitochondria get damaged as you age, and I'll explain why. So your lights start dimming and your lights go out. And when you have less mitochondria, then you have less ability to have cellular energy. This is what's causing your brain fog. This is what's causing the weight gain. This is what's leading to chronic disease. Now, you'll be interested to know that the highest amount of mitochondria are in your brain. There are 2 million mitochondria per cell in your brain. And because the nutrients in spirulina particularly restore and protect your mitochondria, think of spirulina as brain food. It also has very high essential fatty acids and omega-3. And we all know that fatty fish are considered brain food because of the omega-3. So that's right. I tell people, where do you think the fish get the omega-3 from? They get it from algae. So, but it usually goes rancid when you buy it as fish oil. So save the fish, save yourself, and think of spirulina as brain food because of the mitochondria, the essential fatty acids that are all very, very, very good for your brain. So that's one thing to think about. Now, chlorella, which is a green algae, it heals your gut. It protects your the gut biome with fiber, and has bacteria that kills the bacteria in your colon, gets rid of what I call the junk in your trunk by stimulating peristalsis. So this is a gut health algae. So we have brain health and gut health.
Which are so tightly interwoven. Yeah, take a moment. So let's talk a little bit about, especially for women that are in perimenopause and menopause. I mean, you've already touched on a lot of this, bringing in the mitochondria and how they work both to help, especially the spirulina with the brain health, but obviously overall health for every cell if we are able to eliminate the junk in the trunk. How is that the perfect combination for supporting hormone balance and clarity and energy during perimenopause and menopause?
Oh, I know. Well, so mitochondria, one of their job descriptions is hormone production. And what you may not be aware of that as you get older, once you cross 30, muscle, I must have a blur going on with my, I want to get rid of my blur in my background.
There you go. Yes,
there we go.
Perfect.
So as you get older, you get damaged mitochondria as early as 30. This is when the decline starts, and it gets worse and worse. It doesn't matter whether it's your skin or your muscles, everything. And why is that happening? And why is this contributing to these perimenopause and menopausal conditions? Well, it's this damaged mitochondria because they control everything. Now, when you are younger, everything works beautifully, right? And this is because Mother Nature was so smart. She gave you hormones so that you could grow, things like melatonin so that you could sleep. And she also gave us this particular antioxidant. It's a long word. It's called superoxide dismutase. And what does it do? It protects your mitochondria from damage of free radicals. Because remember I mentioned that these things called your cellular energy is necessary. Well, a byproduct of creating the cellular energy are free radicals. It just happens. And so where it occurs is in the mitochondria, so right where all these free radicals are. But this stuff called superoxide dismutase, what it naturally does is it converts all those free radicals into harmless water. But once you hit 30, and certainly by the time you're 40, your body stops making superoxide dismutase, just like it stops making hormones. This is what's putting you into perimenopause, just like it stops and slows down making melatonin, which is why you're having a difficulty sleeping. Why is this going on? Because we have been on Earth for 2 million years. And up until about 150 years ago, we died at 30. Our biology thinks we're dying at 30. And so evolutionarily, everything's slowing down. And unfortunately, it will never change. Our lifestyle has gone so fast, and we're living to 70 and 80 and 90, but our body thinks it's still dying at 30. So one of the first things to go is this mitochondria, because it no longer has this thing called superoxide dismutase that protects the mitochondria from damage. Think of this antioxidant superoxide dismutase, also known as SOD, as a big golf umbrella. So the free radicals, there's a rain of free radicals as a byproduct of this cellular energy called ATP. You can't stop it, but when you have a big golf umbrella, you're protected. If you're in the middle of a rainstorm, you're protected. That's what SOD does for you. And you have it all of your life until age 30. And then by the time you're 40, that golf umbrella has shrunk down to about one of those city totes umbrella. So you're getting a few raindrops, your mitochondria are getting hit a little bit with free radicals. So they're getting a little damage. After 40, that umbrella is gone. We've all been caught in a rainstorm, torrential rainstorm. I now live part-time in Miami, torrential rainstorm literally almost every day. And that's what happens to your mitochondria. They are drenched in free radicals. And when that damages them and kills them, now your body doesn't have enough cellular energy to create all the responsible hormones to help you think clearly, to help you digest properly, to help your metabolic metabolism stay high enough, although muscle is a really good way to keep that high as well. So everything starts to fall apart, everything. And it's just the nature of getting older, because once you get to a certain age, your body just is not creating this superoxide dismutase anymore. And the damage is, up until now, has been known to be irreversible. Now, just in case you're wondering, there are 25,000 studies proving and documenting the importance of superoxide dismutase to reduce inflammation, protect mitochondria, prevent Alzheimer's, prevent any shrinking of telomeres. The science is solid. But what nobody has realized is that spirulina has the highest concentration of it in the world. In the world. So it's like getting Mother Nature, it's like getting a free get out of jail card, because now your body is getting what it used to have, that golf umbrella to protect it. But here's the trick. It can't, that superoxide dismutase, SOD, is also an enzyme. And enzymes are deactivated and destroyed by high heat. This is why a lot of people go raw vegan, because they want the enzymes. So almost all the other lower priced algae companies that are out there, because they're lower priced, they need to get to market quickly. They use high heat to dry their algae. Deactivates that ability to protect your mitochondria. And again, that superoxide dismutase just turns those free radicals into water and oxygen. Crazy, right? So you miss that if you get the lesser quality algae. You could also get fresh or raw spirulina, but it tastes terrible. It's very expensive. You can't travel with it. But I will say there are places like healing centers around the world, like the Hippocrates Institute, which is a very well-known healing center in Florida. They work with mostly cancer patients. They have like an 85% success rate. And what do? They give their patients raw spirulina every single day. And they also do red light therapy and massages and lots of other healing modalities. But that spirulina, boom, gets that mitochondria back alive. It effectively turns the lights back on in your body, in your brain, in your gut, in your hormones, everywhere. Everything starts working again. But you get it from the superoxide dismutase.
And so to summarize a little bit, because I think there's just so much in what you've shared, And I think for everybody listening, and especially the women that are concerned with their energy dipping, the weight issues, the sleep issues, everything that's happening after that 40-year mark, you can understand a little better now why it's happening and how to get some of that back. And so a product like, or a food like spirulina, I should say, really will help you not only recharge your SOD and recharge your protein and add in minerals. And I'm wondering too, Catherine, if you can speak us to the amount of things, because you mentioned like, oh, CoQ10, magnesium, like all these minerals. If people are currently on a supplement regimen because they need a certain amount of CoQ10, magnesium, or B12, how can they learn about how much they're getting from the spirulina and the chlorella?
Well, it's very difficult because again, I mentioned supplements that if you'll notice, the numbers are very high because the entire supplement industry knows your body is not absorbing most of them. You'll get about 10%. So the number of nutrients and the amount in algae is much less, but you absorb 99% of it. So it's very difficult to compare apples and apples. This is why I suggest you take it slowly, start with 10 and see how you're feeling. You could add it to your current program before starting to take away things, but I can almost promise you will feel a difference. And if you aren't feeling a difference from 10, up it to 15, up it to 20, up it to 30. You can go as high as you can take it 100 or 200 if you want. We've had people who's, your pets, I'll just let you know, your cats and your dogs are going to love this stuff. So we've had situations where someone wrote us and said, oh I have a little lap dog and he loves the algae and I made a mistake. I left a full bag on the counter and the dog leapt up onto the counter, ate the entire bag of 1,000 tablets. They were so worried. Was he going to die? And I said, no, he'll probably throw up and poop, green for a little while, but he'll be fine because it's food. It's like, can I die from too much salad? No. Maybe you'll not feel so great for a little while. So there's never worry. There's no drug interactions. In Japan, spirulina in water is the only thing that keeps newborns, if they can't digest mother's milk, alive. And I found this article in a book years ago. And I found out the nutrient profile of spirulina is virtually identical to mother's breast milk. Same aminos in the same proportions. By the way, it has 18 of the 20 aminos, including the 9 your body can't make. So it's a complete protein.
Fantastic.
So again, you could start with 10. That will give you. But if you're if you have these issues, brain fog, weight gain, hot flashes, I would take more than 10 because you need more for corrective purposes. And you can, until you get balanced out. We've had people get off their depression medication. We have mothers who tell us about their children with ADHD or on the spectrum. Their focus is incredible because, again, this is a mitochondria healing nutrient. And so the first thing that improves is your brain, is your focus, and it's food. No caffeine, no chemicals, no sugar, no toxins, third-party lab tested. So you can feel very safe and comfortable giving it to every family member. If you have grandparents, please get them to take this. I have a mother, passed, but her final days were in a nursing home, and it just horrified me what they were feeding her. Everything was like white, mushy stuff. If you weren't sick when you went to the nursing home, you certainly, declined. Right. And a lot of people are eating such processed foods. It's effectively the same mushy stuff, laced with toxins that, make the damage even worse. So spirulina, in addition to giving you satisfying your hunger, if you're on a GLP-1, please take spirulina every day because you aren't eating and your cells regrow every day. A trillion cells regrow every day. You want to keep them healthy. Yeah. And we don't want you to lose muscle mass because that's the other place where you can protect your muscles. So my secret way of keeping as active and alive and nourished for me is the spirulina and the chlorella, and sleep is my other number 2. Algae and sleep are my 2, and the algae is very affordable and sleep is free. So there you go. There's other things to do, of course, but those are my 2 absolute. Don't mess with my algae or my sleep. and I'm good to go. So yeah, spirulina is again super duper food, and I want to tell you about another nutrient. Sorry to be giving you so much about spirulina. Chlorella is equally powerful, but for different
Yes, but let's,
but
go
for
right
women
in.
in particular, because cancer is on the rise. Heart disease is the main cause of death, and superoxide dismutase prevents and corrects heart disease, and it does it through the mitochondria as well as other pathways. But spirulina has another superpower, another super nutrient. It's the blue pigment that doesn't exist anywhere else in nature, and it's called phycocyanin, spelled PHYCOCYNANIN, phycocyanin, okay? And so what does this amazing nutrient do? Well, it's an antioxidant, so it protects your mitochondria as well. But the most important thing I want to share with you is that it's proven to kill cancer cells. I'd say that was pretty important. I started this company because my sister had cancer. Almost 1 out of 2 cancers in women is breast cancer. We have to put a stop to this. And it's just crazy that Mother Nature has provided us with a nutrient that does it naturally. And by the way, the chemotherapy companies put the blue phycocyanin in their treatments now. And I'll tell you exactly how it works. And you can Google phycocyanin and cancer treatments, and you'll see all the scientific papers that I have seen. But who's going to tell you that, right? So how does phycocyanin do this? Well, here's an experiment proving that happened. They took the cancer cells and put them in a petri dish and dyed them purple. And then they added phycocyanin to the petri dish. And then they took a picture every over 24 hours. This is where the cancer cells started. And then by the 24 hours, they were almost gone, right? And I looked at the amount of phycocyanin that was used in that experiment, and one of our tablets has 4,000 times more phycocyanin than was used in that experiment.
So, Catherine, is that a 6-day period? Is that right?
That was 24
hours.
24 hours.
Just all within. Amazing.
And I'll send you the deck, and you can see it.
Yeah, thank you.
So you may wonder, well, how does it do that? So remember we talked about cellular energy, and the way cellular energy is created, it'll be a little geeky, but stay with me. It's through something called the electron transport chain. And there's these molecules that are embedded in your mitochondria. What they do is they pass electrons from one to the next, and at the end, you get energy, cellular energy, called ATP. It's sort of like a relay race. You've seen relay races. There's a runner with a baton, and they pass the baton to the next runner who then runs a distance with the baton pass. And so they hope they're going to cross the finish line first and win the race. Well, instead of runners, you have these molecules. And instead of a baton being passed, it's electrons. Now, in a healthy cell, that blue, so the other thing I want to mention is there are 2 little helper molecules. One's called CoQ10, it's not on here, but the other one is this little molecule called cytochrome C. I'm sure you've never heard of it. I've never heard of it, but it turns out to be the most important part for your health. What does the blue phycocyanin do? In a healthy cell, it speeds up that little healthy helper cell, so it moves the electrons even faster. It's like putting your electrons in a Tesla. This is so you get more electrons pumped out at the other end, which is more ATP, which is more cellular energy. This is one of the reasons why you get energy from spirulina, right? You get more energy if it's a healthy cell. If it's a cancer cell, or something called a senescent cell, which is basically a cell that's subdivided so much that it can't do anything anymore and it's inflammatory, that blue phycocyanin ejects that little thing called cytochrome C, which triggers something called capases, which triggers the death of the cell. It's called apoptosis.
That's great.
Cancer cells cannot go through apoptosis on their own. Apoptosis is healthy cell death. It's when a cell says, oh gosh, I've been around, but I'm not feeling so hot. It's time to go. It's like somebody retiring. They've worked for 50 years. And so they go, it's time for me to go. And that person gives away all of their knowledge and all their leads to the next generation, and everybody's happy. And the person retires and leaves, and the new generation keeps going. Apoptosis is healthy cell death. The cell goes, oh man, it's time to go. So what it does is it divides itself into smaller, 5 or 6 smaller little healthy cells. All the DNA and all the little goodies get sent out to all the little newbies, and cellular growth continues. No inflammation, no damage. But a cancer cell is a sick cell, and it does not know that it's sick, and it cannot go through apoptosis, which is why cancer cells grow so quickly, because they can't kill themselves. This process kills them. And the chemotherapy companies can tell if there's one of the ways they tell if their treatments are working is they measure the amount of cytochrome C in your blood plasma, because if there's a lot of it, they know the cancer cells have been killed. How crazy is that, right? So this is why I call spirulina intelligent food, because you have to be intelligent to take it, and it knows what to do in your body. But there's a catch. There's a catch, okay? Phycocyanin is deactivated, just like that superoxide dismutase, by high heat. And I have a scientific paper that proved that. So once again, if you are buying the cheaper algae, they've used high heat to dry it, you're not getting the heart protection, the inflammation protection, the hormonal protection, or the cancer fighting protection. Because the blue pigment, again called phycocyanin, has been deactivated. We don't use high heat, and also you could get it from fresh or frozen spirulina, which has also not been exposed to high heat. But right there, food from Mother Nature that has been proven in science to have all these prevention and healing properties. And again, you can start with 10 tablets, but if you want to correct a condition or prevent one because you've had a health issue before, I would encourage you to take more. And you don't, there's no flavor if you swallow them. And I think they taste delicious with nuts or sea salt or fruit or something. So you can, or put them in a smoothie. And they're good and safe for every member of your family at all.
How wonderful. And even for the pets, which makes total sense. I had never thought, well, actually, I used to have a little powder that had spirulina for my pet, but as you just mentioned, it probably did not have a lot of the compounds that we need, right? So it's so amazing. I so appreciate your passion on this, because obviously you found something that really does work as a little bit of health insurance. And now everybody here can understand a little bit why. I'm wondering if there are any myths that you've come across as you have been teaching about this and created your product. Do you see any myths around algae that people might be worried about that you could maybe demystify in a couple of minutes?
Sure. Well, lots of times you'll read about an algae bloom closing your beach. That's not spirulina. Spirulina is a blue-green algae and chlorella is a green algae, but there's tens of thousands of strains. That's just a different strain. Spirulina is the only strain that I'm aware of that is grown in fresh water. So if you read about a blue-green algae, and honestly, there's a few people, I won't name who they are, they beat up on spirulina because there's some tests that have been done where the spirulina was grown in the ocean or a lake. Klamath Lake is a place where they grow algae. You cannot keep microtoxins out of wild bodies of water. So if the algae is grown in a wild body of water and algae absorbs whatever's in the water, that's why it shows up where there's toxins. There will be bacteria in the algae, but not in fresh grown, at least not in ours. And we do a special round of tests for microtoxins, and we never have them. So don't panic if you read about a blue-green algae. That's closing your beach. It's not spirulina. Spirulina is harvested as a food crop. And it's been grown that way for over 60 years, 60, right? And all the Asians, the Japanese, the Taiwanese, the Koreans, they've been using it for 60 years. And I want you to enjoy the same benefits that they have. So number one, spirulina is not the same kind of algae that you read about on your from a beach.
And is it a sustainable crop?
It is the most sustainable crop in the world. You get 200 times more protein per acre. There is zero carbon footprint, zero. There's no waste at all. It reuses the water when it's growing. So it's amazing for us, all our packaging is either with recycled paper. We have beautiful canisters made of paper. So we're very, very focused on the environment. Another sort of misunderstanding is people say, well, I've read that there's a fake B12 in spirulina. No, it's a real B12. B12 is generated by bacteria in your gut. Spirulina is a bacteria. It isn't. And if you have any questions, we can send you some scientific papers that prove that it's real bacteria, B12, not what's called an analog. All algae, people think, well, I can go to Target and get the same thing. No, yes, it will be spirulina, and yes, it will be chlorella, but I check the bottle. I can almost promise you it's grown in China or India. That's where 99% of algae is grown, that's sold in America. And I can almost promise you that 99% of that they've used high heat to dry it, because that's how they get to market quickly. We don't sell anything else. We are algae experts. It's all we sell. It's like you wouldn't go to a local doctor for a heart transplant. You go to a specialist. So I don't think there's anyone in the world that knows as much about algae nutrition or prevention as I do, and I'm here to share it with you but you have to be sure you're using a high quality product, and I stand behind ours. I take it every day. We have mostly women at our company. We're very big on women's health. We have one token guy. It's so funny, but one of my team just came in because she had a new baby. Almost all of my team, as I said, except one, are women. Most of them have children. We're very conscious of family health, and I'm very proud of building my company as a caring, nurturing company for women in particular. I started the company because of my sister having breast cancer. Yeah. Mother Nature is a gal. We're here. My main focus is women's health, and we don't get included in research papers. We just get we don't get included. Yes. And yet we know that we make most decisions for the family. And here's another cool thing. That your DNA, regular DNA, half comes from the male and half comes from the female, right? Well, your mitochondria DNA, which control everything in your body, even the regular DNA, guess what? It's all from the female, none from the male. All of your mitochondria comes strictly from the female. Typical, because women are always working behind the scenes to make things right. Mitochondria are working behind the scenes to make things right, to make you healthy. And I just think it's ironic that it all came. That is
very ironic.
And you can check that out. It's just
that's a new piece of information for me today. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
So right now,
I'm all about helping women be healthy. I started the company because of my women. My sister. I hire mostly women. We just want somebody has to get out there to help us.
Yes.
And I know how much work it takes to feed your family, get yourself, and you're always cheating yourself on your nutrition and your sleep and your need for downtime. This is why algae is perfect. It's effortless, nanoseconds. You can swallow water, you're going to get the nourishment.
Amazing.
You don't have to worry about your kids not getting the nourishment. Give this to them before their soccer game instead of a candy bar or something. I'm not giving candy bars, but some of those protein bars literally are just as bad. And so this is real food, the way it used to be and should be. Nothing added, nothing subtracted. 100% good for you, thanks to, and I can't take credit for algae. That's Mother Nature. I can take credit for growing it carefully and so that you get all the maximum benefits. So,
yes. So Catherine, where can people find you, and what is that discount code? We're going to put everything in the show notes, of course, but
yes. So come visit us at energybits.com, ENERGY, B for boy, IT for Tom, S for Sam. Remember, we call our algae tablets bits because they're bits of nutrition, and we have a 20% discount code, Nourish Together, all one word, no space in between. It works on everything. We have large bags, they're the best value. So again, if you use Nourish Together, the bag is normally $130, but it brings it down to $104. I know that's a big number, but if you took 10 tablets a day,
right?
It's 3 months. One bag has the same nutrition as 551 pounds of vegetables right here. Never goes bad. Well, it lasts 3 years, but even longer than that. $1 a day is what it will cost you if you buy a large bag. We also have fun canisters that come with a bag inside them. You can buy boxes of single pouches for traveling or the gym or whatever. But this way, you will be nourished effortlessly. And it never goes bad. You don't have to refrigerate it, nothing. And we also have a social media handle, Energy Bits, Facebook. We put lots of cool stuff on there. So come and visit us there. And, if you're not ready to make the big commitment, just go to Amazon. For $6. You can buy a single pouch with 30 tablets. Try them out. Be sure that you're okay. Then come back. There's no expiration date on the discount code.
Right.
Nourished Together will last forever.
And like you said, it's a
forever.
great investment, especially with the Nourished Together discount code. And you can give it to your dogs and
Yes.
and give it to your parents. So absolutely. I am so grateful for your time today. This is so eye-opening, I think, for so many people, that you can get this huge bridge, for any gaps that people have in their diets right now. And it's so easy. Thank you for making that so easy for everybody.
You're very welcome, and thank you. Now you know why I call it a super duper food.
I love that. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tate.